What's been going on for you then, Rob? What would you normally be doing right now?
So those who don't know, I run a company called EPS, and we provide technical services to the events industry. So at this time of year, we're normally gearing up for the start of the festival season. I did some rough calculations before this, and normally we see about about 45% of our turnover comes in the next 3 months. But to put that in some kind of context for where we are at the moment, this month we're down to about 5% of our normal turnover. There's normally 6 of us in the company, and at the moment it's just me. Everyone else has been furloughed. We were looking at recruiting from, well, all over the place, including we had a bunch of interviews lined up with some of the Solent graduates who are due to come through this year. And we were recruiting for three more employees, and we ended up cancelling all of that. So it's quite a different landscape for us at the moment. The event side of things, we do a bunch of things, but primarily events is where we started. And with that, all the festival work's gone away, and I'm really not expecting it to come back for about 12 months. Realistically, it's going to be this time next year before anything on a large scale happens. I've got one small conference lined up on the 8th of October, which they've paid for, and I'm hoping that's going to go ahead. But that's for 150 delegates, and that's sort of the first thing that I'm really expecting to happen. So in the interim, we started looking at putting together a virtual venue so that we can do some streaming from our own premises. So we've put together a stage and a lighting rig and a video wall, and we're putting together for some of our existing customers a package whereby they can, with some of their existing festivals, particularly sort of arts festivals, things that aren't so music based, they can come in, use our space, still based on social distancing. We've got a gallery that fits 2 people, we've got a decent sized stage, and we're going to be streaming corporate events from there and arts festivals. Or, well, hopefully, if anyone takes it up. At the moment, it's very much a concept. But the event side of things is just completely dead. There's nothing at all that we can do. This is as close to a field as I've got this year. I'm sitting out in my garden, overlooking some fields, and this is nice. At least the sun's come back out now. But yeah, I've still been going into work a bit. I've got an office at home, and I've got an identical office in work. So lots of Zoom meetings, trying to get things going. And the really useful thing about this time is we've been able to make links with similar companies in other areas, people who are in the same sort of situations we are. There's loads of people who are looking at doing virtual venues. So we're putting together a network so that rather than people having to travel to do their conferences, we can get keynote speakers set up in different locations around the country.
Thank you, Rob. That's really interesting to hear how it's affecting the events industry, but also to hear what you've been doing, productively since then. Rob, yes, of course. Rob, you were just about to interview some of our guys, or you had interviewed some of our guys. I'm still on Tom. Rob. There we go.
We didn't quite get as far as interviewing, unfortunately. I think it was about a week before we actually ended up cancelling them, but it was pretty close. The key thing for me really is for those people who are on the event space. I'm not sure quite how you're structured these days, but for those on the event side and the audio side of things, I think this has proven how important it is not to sort of look at the broadcasting and say, well, that won't be relevant to me or anything like that, and make sure that you are well skilled across lots of areas in the industry. I graduated 14 years ago, so when I did it, there were only 3 courses. My background is really in the media side of things, but I've been running an events business for the last 12 years. And it's been interesting because I've got that media background and broadcast background. I've been definitely relearning a lot of the things to do with broadcast, and as I said earlier, we've sort of set up a virtual studio, and I'm getting back into doing sort of chroma work, and we've set up a green screen and all these kind of skills that they may not. And I remember when I was there, one of the key ones that at the time no one could really understand the reason for if they were going to audio or broadcast was the level of in-depth networking and computer studies stuff. But it's obviously ended up being essential, and I'm sure there's not a single person in this chat, I doubt, who doesn't use some element of networking every day. So it's really important to make sure you are skilled across all areas, because it can, I think to use a bit the sort of business term, it's important to know that when you do hit a roadblock like this, you're able to pivot and be agile and move into different sectors if necessary.